The galactic Senate chamber buzzed with the usual cacophony of 1,000 different species, each voice blending into a symphony of diplomatic discourse. Mia Chen stood at the human delegation podium, her hands gripping the edges as she surveyed the amphitheater before her. Beside her, Leo Martinez adjusted his translation device, his jaw set in a grim line. They had come to present humanity's petition for full membership in the Galactic Coalition, a request that had taken 3 generations to prepare. "Honorable members of the Senate," Mia began, her voice steady despite the weight of 200 billion souls resting on her words. "Humanity comes before you today not as supplicants but as partners. We have studied your laws, adopted your protocols, and proven our worth in every trial you've set before us." A ripple of what could only be described as amusement passed through the chamber. The Vraxian ambassador, a towering insectoid creature with compound eyes that reflected the chamber's bioluminescent lights, clicked his mandibles in what their species considered laughter. "The humans speak of worth," the Vraxian announced, his voice amplified across the chamber. "Tell us, Representative Chen, what worth does a species possess when they've barely left their own star system? When their lifespans are but a flutter compared to ours? When their technology is centuries behind even our most primitive members?" More laughter echoed through the chamber. The Keltharian delegation, beings of pure energy contained in crystalline matrices, pulsed with colors that their translators rendered as mockery. Even the normally stoic Xiphons allowed themselves amused chirps. Leo's hand found Mia's shoulder, a silent gesture of support. She drew a breath and continued. "We may be young," she said, "but humanity has survived ice ages, plagues, and wars that nearly destroyed us. We've turned deserts into gardens and split the atom. We've created art that moves the soul and philosophy that questions existence itself. We've reached for the stars not because it was easy, but because you are reckless." The Archon Prime interrupted, his 12 vocal cords creating a harmonious chorus of condescension. "You split the atom, yes, and nearly destroyed yourselves with it. You've poisoned your own world, warred over resources and ideologies, and now you come here expecting us to embrace such chaos." The chamber erupted in agreement. Species that had never agreed on anything suddenly found common ground in their dismissal of humanity's application. Mia felt something crack inside her, not despair but a cold crystalline clarity. She looked at Leo, and in his dark eyes she saw the same realization dawning. They had prepared arguments, data, testimonials from the few alien species who had visited Earth. They had documentation of every achievement, every advancement, every sacrifice humanity had made to reach this moment. None of it mattered. The Senate didn't see partners. They saw children playing at adult games. "I see," Mia said quietly, her words cutting through the laughter like a knife through silk. The chamber slowly quieted, curious at the change in her tone. "We thank the Senate for their time and consideration." She began gathering her materials with methodical precision. Leo did the same, his movements mirroring hers with the synchronization born of years working together. "Wait," the Vraxian ambassador said, confusion replacing his earlier mirth. "You have not finished your presentation. There are still 3 cycles of debate scheduled." Mia didn't look up from packing her data crystals. "There's no need. The Senate has made its position clear." "But the formal vote," the Archon Prime began. "Can proceed without us," Leo interjected, his voice carrying the same cool detachment as Mia's. "We withdraw our application effective immediately." A stunned silence fell over the chamber. In the 3,000 years since the Galactic Coalition had formed, no species had ever withdrawn an application. Some had been rejected, others had failed the preliminary trials, but none had simply walked away. The Keltharian representative pulsed a confused orange. "You withdraw?" "But membership in the coalition provides access to trade routes, technology exchanges, and protection under galactic law. Your species cannot possibly survive isolation in this sector of space." Mia finally looked up, and there was something in her expression that made several nearby delegates instinctively shift back. It wasn't anger or resentment. It was the look of someone who had just made a decision they couldn't unmake. "Ambassador Kelth," she said softly, "humanity survived ice ages without climate control technology. We crossed oceans in wooden ships without knowing what lay beyond the horizon. We split the atom without understanding its full implications, yes, and then we learned to harness it. We've done the impossible so many times that we've forgotten it's supposed to be impossible. She closed her briefcase with a decisive snap. If the Coalition believes we need their protection to survive, then they fundamentally misunderstand what it means to be human. We didn't come here because we needed you. We came because we thought partnership would benefit both our peoples. Leo activated the transport beacon. We were wrong. The Xiphon Chancellor, who had remained silent throughout the proceedings, finally spoke, his ancient voice creaking like old wood. You would doom your species to struggle alone rather than accept guidance from those wiser and more experienced? Mia smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. Chancellor, every step humanity has taken forward has been a struggle. It's the only way we know, and we've never needed permission to reach for the stars. The transport beam began to coalesce around them, its golden light painting the Senate chamber in warm hues. Wait! The Archon Prime's voice carried a note of something new. Concern, perhaps, or the first stirrings of doubt. At least tell us, what will humanity do now? Mia and Leo exchanged one final glance. When they spoke, their voices overlapped, creating a harmony that resonated through the chamber long after the transport beam had whisked them away. Whatever we want. The Senate chamber remained silent for a long time after the humans departed. The Xiphon Chancellor was the first to speak, his ancient eyes fixed on the empty space where the human delegation had stood. We have made, he said slowly, a grave miscalculation. But by then, the humans were already gone, and the stars, those infinite, waiting stars, suddenly seemed a little less lonely. The laughter had stopped, and,